Hey guys, how's everybody doing? Thank you for being here. Let's see if I can remember to share the screen. All right, guys. Like I say, good morning. Good morning here. So hopefully this will be better than last night because you'll be able to see what I was looking at. Man, look at this. I was just looking at the upper left corner. I mean, ES is up a little bit. NQ's up 0.5%. That's great. Bitcoin, another day, another up multiple percent. I mean, that is face ripping, up 1.24%. I mean, I'm really thinking that Bitcoin, one of them's got to be wrong. Bitcoin's got to be wrong. There's no way there. I mean, I think they're getting too far apart. This would make a good reversion to means pairs trade. I'm just trying to figure out how to do it. But in any event, the market is going up also, just not as fast as Bitcoin. So that's fine. Let's look at the 10-year. Everyone's worried about that. So, and sure enough, it's today it's been higher than it was yesterday. So that situation hasn't been solved yet. Let's put it on the 30-minute chart. I was telling a friend last night that a lot of people, I think that bonds, albeit, are still uber important. Maybe it hasn't blown us up yet because there is some money that is no longer in bonds and is in Bitcoin, some amount of retirement assets. It used to be 60-40 pretty much, but nowadays, for whatever reason, Bitcoin is probably, if you looked at your average, maybe big retirement, Bitcoin now has a small part in it. Even if it just has a couple of percent in it, that can make a difference to the macro picture. As far as maybe how bonds act, maybe in other words, maybe Bitcoin's a flight to safety now. I mean, I don't really think that, but maybe it's going that way. All right, I'm just having a little chip. I had a little snack before I came on here. A little tortilla chip breakfast. Good little Texas breakfast. Tortilla chips and salsa. All right, guys. Well, let's look at some other stuff. Why don't we? We've checked out the markets. Well, I guess we can look at the NQ. I mean, it is up 0.5%. I mean, that is impressive. Let's zoom out and see where it's. Look at its. You can see it appears to be trading around this strike right here at 21,375, and has been, for a while. So perfect. That's great, NQ. Here's the Qs. Same thing. The Qs started selling off last night. They couldn't get very far away from the center of gravity, which is the POC, the point of control. And right now it looks like they're snapping back towards the point of control. All right. And one other thing I wanted to show was this. Or no, not that. Right here is something else I'm watching is the election night price, the election gap. We dipped back into the election gap yesterday. It goes down here. I should have put the other side on it, but I just know where the top of it is. But it's a big one. So we dipped into it, and there were buyers there so far. We always want there to be buyers in that gap. If you're a Trump guy, or that's that would be a great base level. The election night, and okay, everything was messed up before. This team is in. We're going to fix it. Okay, well, this is what yard line they started on. So this is what we'd really like to see them try to hold the territory for sure. So, but the other thing is, if it gets on the other side of this, we'll also be on the other side of the 200 period moving average, and that's the traditional bearish sign. So they're kind of right there in the same spot. I can show them together. There's the election night price right there. Hang on, let me spread it There's the election night price now, and there's the 200 period moving average, which sits at 58.11 right now. So the bottom of this election side gap is at 58.20. I'll put it in there too. So we would definitely expect buyers to be here, especially if you're a bull. If you're a bear and this area fails, you could wait for retest back up into it to sell, or you could sell and put a stop on the other side or whatever. This is a key area, and we'd probably just grind here also. It's sell in May and go away. That there's nothing saying that we have to go either up or down. That we could go sideways too, and we do often. So anyway, we'll see. All right. Well, now let me show you some other stuff. I worked on. Let's look at the. Sorry about no Misty report yesterday. I know people really like Misty, and I also wanted to talk about the new leveraged. We want to talk about a question we were talking about in Discord and some stuff like that. All right. So on to greener pastures. Here are the Misty trades. Thank you so much, Retire on Dividends. I doubt he's watching, but maybe someone will, who knows, maybe he'll watch. I didn't think he'd see my message yesterday, but I put a message in Discord. Hey, does anyone have the MicroStrategies trades, MSTY trades? So I forgot to download them, and they disappear if you don't get them by 8:30 in the morning, because they start putting up live trades from the next day. Jay's trading that SDTY pretty actively. And if SDTY has had even one trade yet, and I haven't downloaded the trades from the night before, they're gone. Sure enough, I forgot till like 9 in the morning. I downloaded it, and SDTY had sold an option, and anyway, so it was all gone. Retire on Dividends saved me. He saw the message. I didn't send him a message or whatever. I just put it on my Discord, but I did put everyone. I never do everyone. Just because I don't like to bother people. I mean, I don't even do everyone when I have a new video coming out. I mean, anyway, all right. Well, yeah, I spent a lot of time. You wouldn't believe how much time it. See that where it says 4.03 billion? Oh my gosh, that took me like 20 minutes to figure out how to data scrape that, and it shouldn't. I mean, but it did. Such a small detail. All right. Well. So here's the trades for the last 2 days. Here's the ones Retire gave me. I didn't even put if it was a call or a put or a strike, because it really doesn't matter. I just need the plus or minuses for that day. We can see here, or you can see right here on today's. I'll show you something about today's action. Well, on yesterday's action though, 9 million went out the door, 4 million came in the door. They lost 5 million yesterday just trading. So that's 13 BIP loss. That would equate to about a 27% NAV loss if that was annualized. However, they made 3.4 million in income, which is 8 bips, which would equate to 18% if annualized. Okay, then today, excuse me. Then today, what I was going to notice is yesterday it sold off at the end of the day, and what it looks to be like they did is see this buy to close. They were able to cover some stuff for 30 cents and 26 cents. What do you bet they sold those a few days before for $4 or $5? Because that's generally what they do when they have a short sell. $5, $4, $5. You guys get the picture. So yeah, I'll do that all day long. Or pay a fund manager to sell something at $4 and cover it 30 cents. Because once you cover it at 30 cents, then you get to sell something else at $4. It's like getting overtime or something, because if your job is to gather premium when the market's going down, as you guys know, because I know the people that watch this understand this, but just in case somebody doesn't, but that rolling down is so powerful. Now, where it burns you is when you roll down, when you roll down and then it shoots back the other way. But that's always the way it is. Covered call selling, short volatility strategies want a stable market. So it doesn't want one that drops 5% one day, goes up 5% the next day. And if it does do that, those are the kinds of things that make your covered call strategies underperform. when you get a good steady market, maybe like Netflix, that's kind of, real liquid and more steady, it's money, right? So anyway. All right. Well, but that was great. I love to see that they sold those, because that means that they were able to, what they did is where they sold those 2,800, and then they bought those to close also. Anyway, what they did is they sold those 2,800, and then they bought the 2,800 back for 30 cents, and then they sold some for $5.30. Anyway, it doesn't matter. They spent 3.9, they brought in 5.8. So we can look at it that way too. That's $2 million. $2 million to the good. That's a nickel. That's 5 basis points. If you annualize that, that would be 10% on NAV return. So that negates some of the negative 27% the day before. We don't even have to look at the NAV return. We can just look at the price, because the market makers keep the net asset value in line with how the return is every day. But I thought it's interesting to see how the actual option strategies are going, and to break out the income. So breaking out the income, looking at just the option premium, it was all option premium. That was all short sales. So 5.8. They didn't have any just regular sells. A sell wouldn't count for option premium. A sell is a long, the long position where they bought something and then they're just exiting it. That's a sell. Where a sell short, selling something you didn't already own, that's option premium. All right. The other one's just a trade. The trades count too. We put them in the trade column. So anyway, I hope you guys like that. But then we can also look at the total MFers, or it's not the MFers, I should say that. The total, just the total Misty trades. I need to change this. This has nothing to do with Max Factor. So I just put every line so we can see how much they made every day. The 41's gone out the door, 92's come in the door. I need to figure out where the cutoff is. If Retire on Dividends is watching, or somebody that watches his channel, there's a day, and he knows how they do it. But anyway, once I figure out where that is, we'll adjust for the pay dates, and then we'll know. It won't be as good of a report as his, but I'm a bottom line guy. If I just want to know bottom line, how are they doing? How much yield have they been gathering? What, that kind of stuff. I think that's like a snapshot. And I know it doesn't seem like that yet, because I've had a hard time getting it right, and I go on and on about it every day. But I'm trying to get this where we can look at it in like 30 seconds, and it'll maybe put this in a graph. It'll show how much was in, how much was out on each day, and then show the bottom line. But anyway, then maybe I want the graph maybe as the month goes on to show how much per share the dividend is, just like I used to do on Defiance. And it would be easy to do. And then we just look at that graph every day, and you guys won't have to deal with the indignity of looking at this, because this is a mess. But it's a work in progress. I'm actually proud of it, because because I had to do a lot of data scraping last night, especially for this. This thing's incredible. I'm really liking the high yield technical analysis and being able to constantly monitor. This is like the buffer report on steroids. Okay. Also, I have a new video coming out, and it's about QUSA, which is an interesting fund. So I just went ahead and took the liberty of putting all the QUSA holdings into the Max Factor. It doesn't have to be high yield. Anyway, but I showed some interesting things in that also. That video will be out today. The two things over here in yellow, I put Coney and JPEG from the high yield universe, just to compare them with. But these are just growth stocks, or value kind of growth stocks, or things like Visa. They're value stocks. But I was really interested. This QUSA, they're selling options. Okay, great. They're selling options on real stable type companies. A lot of these companies pay a pretty good dividend. So they're going to, and they own the stock, so they're going to get that dividend. It's not a lot, 2% or something, but it's something. It's more than the SPY. They'll get that, and then they'll write options. And these things don't have the highest premium. That's why they're just going for 15%. But anyway, it looks like a decent idea to me. They have some good companies in here. If you guys heard of this APH, this thing's, I'm sure you guys know about it. And of course, Decker has earnings today, don't they? Or I think somebody wants me to do an earnings trade. If there's any earnings trades you guys want to see, put them in the thing. But anyway, we'll watch the whole video on this later. But this QUSA is a good fund, And so's this wisdom tree fund I'm reviewing. This wisdom tree fund's a lot better than you guys are going to think. So be watching, or you might think off the get-go, be watching for that this afternoon. All right, now let's look at the buffer report, the old buffer report. Once I get the new buffer report and working like I can picture it working, and the Misty trades working where it's visual, we probably will drop or we might look at the old buffer report, but we could show so much more on this stuff. Now that I'm pretty good at data scraping. We don't just have to show the return. We could also show the volatility. We could show the total return. There's all kinds of things. I have all kinds of better ideas. Wonder if this also showed the total return for the quarter or something, so we could see which funds were, total return for the year. That's one thing, but maybe total return for the quarter. Maybe it shows. Anyway, I'm working on some ideas like that, where we have where the buffer report is a lot more data rich. All right. Well, anyway, so look at this. What in the heck, Snow? Okay. Well, that's good because I did that one in real life. And I also did Baidu in real life, but I also have some puts in real life. I thought the puts might come in handy yesterday when the market started selling off, but we'll see. Anyway, but if there's anything you guys want me to do, just let me know. But the rest of these are, look at ULTY up 1.3 when the Russell's down. That's impressive. And Russell's just down a little bit, but yeah, it's a good looking day. I mean, XOMO's outperforming on the downside. It's been cold lately, that sector of the economy. All right, index buffer report. Let's see what's going on here. Well, the far left is SPY-T. Look at that. SPY-T outperforming. That's wonderful. Good boy, Jackson. That is wonderful. But the SPY is barely moving. Look, you can barely even see it. It's only up a nickel. So a lot of these should be outperforming, sideways market. WDE, the good fund from Defiance, is also outperforming, as is FEET, as is 5E, as is SPY-I, as is GPIX from Goldman. FEPI looks good. LFGY, heck yes, LFGY. AIPI. I don't have my Tasty Trade. We'll look at the Tasty Trade at lunch. I don't have it. I haven't signed in yet, but I'm sure it's doing well. Look at this QDTE. I like that. That's a good fund. It's up 75 bips where the NASDAQ's only up 40 bips. That's great. I love that. You get the whole NASDAQ, exposure to the whole NASDAQ. WiMAX is a good, WiMAX is good too, but killing it. Look at WiMAG. What is going on here? My family text is going off. I hope everyone's all right. Oh yeah. I think it's fine. Or is it a fire? Oh my gosh. Oh, that happens all the time. I hope that's not in my dad's neighborhood. Anyway, jet went down in San Diego. They go down all the time. They have a little private airport. My dad lives in Coronado, and there's a military airport there, but anyway, it's not by his house. It's probably out by Miramar or something. All right, well, LFGY, YMAG. Anyway, all right, we'll go over all to the far right, which is where the alts kind of land, and that's XOVR, killing it. All right, well, that's good. That is really good. Good morning, guys. Good morning, Mark. Good morning, Udar. Haven't seen you around in a while, but you used to comment on my videos all the time. We've had good debates back and forth and discussions. I always appreciate your opinion. Lunar, how are you doing? Jerry, appreciate you being here. Did the snow hit the bonus? Yes, I think it did. We're going to look at that stuff. I'm distracted about this jet crash in San Diego. Small plane headed towards Montgomery Field crashes in Murphy Canyon. Well, my dad doesn't live in Murphy Canyon, but it lit a small neighborhood on fire. But I just want to make sure it wasn't my dad's neighborhood. My dad is not a canyon dweller, though, so that's not it. Yeah, it's those little jets scare the heck out of me. They I don't know. They just scare me. They scare me. All right. 777s and stuff don't scare me so much, but those little ones, it's always a little one that goes down. All right. So let's look at option trades. I'm going to remember to take that off the screen. Let's go to I was just so glad I got up. I haven't even signed into my Tasty Trade or my brother-in-law's Tasty Trade, but I stayed up late again last night, but I got all those Misty trades caught up, and I did some work in the Mac. I did some more work in the Max Factor, and but at lunchtime we'll look into anything I didn't look at here. I'd like to look at how the model portfolio is doing. It's probably doing pretty well. The trade was substantially it was similar, so we'll look at this trade on Snowflake and see how it's doing. No bonus. And how could that be no bonus? I'm thinking because it was like last week. I wanted something up for over the weekend. Anyway, that's fine though. But yeah, how could it be no bonus? Well, we can kind of investigate a little bit. The bonus one is this crown, the one I didn't do in real life, of course. It's the way it works. So core weave or whatever. This thing's incredible. I mean, it will not stop. But yeah, snow for right now does not look like bonus. And Baidu, also in real life, it's showing a negative on here. I did substantially the same trade. I mean, I always do pretty much the same thing. This is right on the edge. This one will be all right. Nothing to worry about. I was hoping that I could get a little lower open this morning and take those puts off for a pretty nice little profit. Because I have some puts on for Friday. But the market bounced this morning. But I was hoping I could do that. The market would go down. I'd take those off for 300 or 400, and because I only had 100 in them, and maybe even reestablish, but take some money off the table, and then still hit snow and Baidu. Okay, well, it reports today. Let's look today. Right? There's some reporting today. There's just none reporting tomorrow because obviously the market's closed. Did everyone have plans for this weekend? If you do, put them in the comments. Hopefully, Tom, you're going to get some fishing in or some type of boating, some type of boat activity. I know, and we do have some on Friday. We do have some on Friday. Okay, Intuit, Decker, Copart. Let's look at Ross Stores. What do you guys think? Do you think Ross Stores? There'd be something bearish in Ross Stores. I wish I would have done something like neutral to bearish in Baidu, where I put a freaking broken wing butterfly right on top of the strike. That one would have paid off well there. Let's see, maybe on Ross Stores, what's up? If it has enough liquidity. These ones with just 1 day left can be real hit or miss. And really, we aren't even open. Well, yeah, we are. Are we open tomorrow or not? We aren't open Monday. That's right. Gosh darn it. Okay. We're open tomorrow. We aren't open Monday. That'll affect next week's earnings trades, not this week. All right. What is the deal? I hate how it's not liquid. It's asked at 4, bid at 4, asked at 430. I mean, 155 to 220. It's not worth messing with. It's not worth messing with. Let's go see what else is going on. I think I have some that expire that I made a long time ago that are getting ready to expire. Okay, yeah, Palo Alto Networks. I forgot about. I showed that one to somebody. I didn't do it in real life, of course. I'm just going to. That's one I was interested in. The math was wonderful on it. Liquidity all day long, tons of buffer. Target, ditto on Target. Didn't do it in real life. It's $192 winner. Landed right in the. Looks like it'll make 205. It has a little bit more time decay to go by. It's not maxed out. It'll make 205 at expiration. I just take it off. Take the 190. Take the 190 and go do something. Go do something fun. Look at iBit. I mean, this one comes off, and this was a rollout. Do you guys remember when we looked at? I was looking at the next trading range up the thing, and it was like 55 or something. There was something going on, and I said, okay, well, target 55. Well, that came true, and then I believe this is the rollout. This is the reestablishment after that one. So this one created a flat spot between 57 and 63. But look, this is getting ready. This is possibly, if Bitcoin keeps going up also, and I didn't do this one in real life, but I did do the first leg of this in real life. I got there, and that was a good trade. But I didn't get the rollout on, but I just wanted to, and it's because I hesitated and waited and it had already moved or something. I wanted to, but anyway, that's the rollout from that trade. So that's awesome. iBit, the tail hedge for a week down $134. That did not come true. Sorry if you guys did that. I really thought this trade was going to be a good one too. And it still might be. And I did this, and I have this on in real life too. No, not that one. I do have this one on in real life, but that's not the one I'm talking about. Hedge for next week. Well, this is an interesting looking trade. This is a longer term trade. It goes out a month. And it loads up on a new low. If the market makes a new low or even close to it, you can make a 5 to 10 to 20 bagger. I did that. I showed that one yesterday. All right. Well, what do you guys want to look at? Is there any earnings trades or? Yeah, we can look at one or two of those. That's fine. Yeah, I will. That's the way it's working out, right? But anyway, so Snow did not hit the bonus. On this one, Ethan, I have no idea. I have no idea. I need to do a video on that, but I do want to look at this bull a little bit more. Let's go back to that. I didn't really look at that one day. It's Webull, evidently. Let me see. I'll take a gander at that really quick. Oh, shoot. I also promised Jerry I was going to say something about that leverage fund. What do you guys think about the leverage fund? We'll put this other stuff on hold. The leverage fund, the 20% swap fund that Roundhill's doing. What's the ticker on that darn thing? Somebody tell me the ticker on that. I want to look at that really quick. Well, I promise I'll get to this other stuff, Ethan. I promise. But I promised Jerry, and if he's still in here, he's never in here, and I saw that he's here a little bit ago. So it was in Discord. We were just, I guess the question, we were talking about the leverage fund in Discord. Well, here's what I tried to do real quick before I came on here. Maybe Thomas knows the answer to this. I tried to simulate the 20% leverage by looking at a portfolio of MicroStrategies, but then looking at a portfolio of Misty in Portfolio Visualizer, but adding 20% leverage. You can add leverage into your portfolio, but it didn't work out. It didn't show what I was trying to show, and also then I was trying to show it without leverage and trying to show them both at the same time, but when I switched one, it switched both of them. Anyway, I think leverage is a tool. Just just like buying options, buying options, you access a lot of leverage too. And so you buy call options all the time. You do pretty well for a while, but you guys know eventually, because you're buying options, you're paying the time decay, even if you do well for a while. I just think leverage has a downside to it also. Yes, those round hill funds have been hot. Somebody give me a ticker. Was it MST or something? Or MST's the or there's okay, it's not MST, that's the Defiance one. What about PLTW? PLTW is one of the round hill ones, right? So let's compare that to PLTY. Now, and I know they're impressive. I mean, I'm sure they're impressive. All I'm saying is, on a sample size like this size, I wouldn't get too excited yet, because there's nothing free, and yes, so if it has more upside, it's also going to have something else. We don't use leverage that much. But I'm gotta think it's going to have more downside, and you can see just in this short sample size, when the market was getting killed. I mean, it may not look like much, but PLTY was down 30%, but the other one was down 40% or 65 or 50%. It's a big difference on percentage. So, I mean, yeah, and it's up more now because, of course, it's so I don't know. I don't know, but I think the questions brought up in Discord: why doesn't a fund combine both strategies? Use a 50% and have the a leveraged exposure with the swap or whatever. And then with the other 50%, do the standard stuff they normally do, just a synthetic, I guess, or whatever. Yeah, and that's not a bad idea. But you could also do it yourself. So what I said, you could just put if you have $100,000 income portfolio, you could put 50,000 in PLTY and 50,000 in PLTW. I would put 50,000. I would do 30 or 40, and then 20 in some type of something that has inverse exposure to one of those. That's just me though. But yeah, you could absolutely do that. The other thing you could do, I guess you could, when we're above the 200-day, you're in PLTW. Market's going up, that you're in PLTW. And when we're in times of stress and the VIX, VIX term structures and backwardation, and we're under the 200-day, under the 50-day, under the 20-day, and but then that case, maybe you could allocate more, if you anticipate something like that, more to PLTY, because PLTY did do, I mean, it's quite a bit better. I mean, 75, so that's 65, so that's 7. So it's down 30%. That's 30%. That's 35. That's 40. Yeah, it's 30 to 40. So it's 30 to 40. It's 10% difference on a base of 30 is 33% worse. That's pretty bad. So, I think that just demonstrates that there's nothing for free. No free, but yeah. Okay. PLTW uses one trade. Okay. Now I'm not saying it's not great, but so I did. So that was it. And I think we see it does way better on the way up. And in that little sample, there was PLTW, and it did, it's down 40. The other one was down 30. So it did worse on the way down by about 33%, by a 30% margin. On the way up, though, we'll just, we could do it. We'll just measure off the low. How about that? I love this kind of stuff. I love looking at this kind of stuff. Now, I was trying to measure off the darn low, so I guess I need to do it like this, though, right? Okay. So there you have it. So off the low, so it was 30% worse on the way down, but on the way up, I mean, my Lord, it's up 65 where the other one's up 35. So that's a difference of 30 on 30. That's a difference of like 80%. It's 80% better. It's doing 80% better. So yeah, so it does 80% better on the way up, 30% worse on the way down, based on a very small sample size. We can also, the reason I was trying to put it in, well, let's also do, I didn't even think about just adding it directly to Portfolio Visualizer. But anyway, Ethan, I'll do the questions after this. Well, I'll answer the WOOF and but let me just look at this. Let's just go that one and then PLT. Yeah, it's too new. It's not even in here yet. Anyway, but no, it's a great time to be an investor. That's all I know. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Now, so here's the other thing. So it does better on the way up, worse on the way down. And it appears on the short sample size like it does more better. It's not a word. On the way up than it does, it appears to have a little convexity, but it's a really small sample size. But I would trade that all day long if it's something did 80% better on the way up and did 30% worse on the way down. I mean, in theory, that's, that would work. So anyway, okay. Hey, Summit, how are you doing? Yeah, you're a little bit late, Summit. He'll be here in this a second. Okay, let me look at let's look at Bull. But what in the heck's going on with this? So did somebody really pay $80 for this? That was probably my order. I don't have any, but I mean that's holy cow, look at that. I mean, even if you got the best price on the first day, you paid $28 and it's sitting at 13 right now. This one's just going to go in the too early to tell yesterday thing. So here's this article. Why did Webull crash yesterday? When is this written? May 16th. So it's a while back. Yeah, I just, I mean, it's whatever, unless it has liquid options. Just for fun, let's see if it does have options yet. It's probably too new, but it amazes me how fast they get options out nowadays. What is going on? I'll look at that in a second. All right. So let's look at Bull. Yeah, they do have options. Bid at $1, asked at $1.10. Go do that. That's not, if somebody wants shares in that company, there's a trade for you right there. Sell the 13.5 strike, get $100 for, look at that. You got to be kidding me. There's no way that's right. And they just switched. Still, though, you could get $100 if you wanted to buy the same option, be $165. But dude, $100 bill to pick up this stock that you want to buy anyway. It was at 80 a few days ago. You get it for $1,300. You need $1,350, but you get $100 right now. 2 days work. I mean, that's huge. Look at that IV, 323%. That's what you do with that stock. If you want it, I mean, I would even mess with the way I do it with the protected downside or whatever, because it's cheap enough. But I would just pick that one up. It's a good stock. You could also do this. You want to get really crazy, but you don't want to do this. But I mean, you could, but not for 2 days. It wouldn't make much sense. Don't do that. Forget I showed you that. Forget that. Just go sell that option. That's a great trade. Anyone who wants that stock, I just like the math on that. I mean, but don't do it if you don't like the stock. If you're going to get stuck with a $1,350 worth of stock that's absolutely worthless. Don't do that. I'm just assuming that the Ponzi scheme goes on down the road and we kick the can down the road a couple more years like we always do. No, I'm just joking. But, I'm hoping everything stays good. Anyway. But that's not a bad looking trade, just the math of it. I mean, and I guess it should be a 300 vol. Anyway. All right, guys. Well, I'm going to get out of here. I got to go answer that text, but I appreciate you for being here. Okay. So Sigma. Okay. SGMA will be what I look at lunch. I promise. I'll look at SGMA and WOOF. And I've looked at WOOF before. WOOF's amazing. We'll look at SGMA and WOOF at lunch. All right, guys. Have a good day. Take care.